All right, guys, this is going to be fun. So Don Jr. he's trying so hard to be his dad. One theory is he's fighting for his dad's love and affection. Trying, like, look at me, daddy. Do you support me? Do you like me? Do you love me? That's one theory. The other theory is he's just trying to be his dad. He sees the success of his father politically, and he's like, oh, I can do that. I can do that. And so, he's been doing these rants. I don't even know which social media platform he's on, but he's been doing these rants. He's been doing them for a while, too, where he goes off on these political issues, and he's trying to be like, I'm the right-wing guy. I'm like the heir apparent to the Donald Trump throne. Now, I think DeSantis is going to have a thing or two to say about that. But as you're going to see here, he does a bad impression of his father. Like, it's just Trump, for all of his flaws, he does have a trait that Don Jr. doesn't have. He has a sort of a weird charisma about him. He's one of those people where when he talks, you immediately get it in your head. He's a great communicator. Now, he talks in fragmented sentences and he rarely makes sense, but there's a skill that he has that I think, people who are his political opponents must acknowledge and recognize. Whereas Don Jr. is just like, look, you're going to see it. I think he's a coked up fail son. And so he has a rant here against student loan debt reduction, and buckle up.
Those who went to college and paid their debts back, didn't go to every party, didn't buy the coolest new toy chasing clout, but worked hard, saved, paid back their debts.
What happened with Don Jr.? Did he have to take out student loans? Did he, forego partying in college? What's going on with you, buddy? By the way, Donald Trump, his dad, Don Jr.'s dad, Trump, inherited hundreds of millions of dollars from his dad. And by the way, he lies about that and said, I took a small loan of a couple $1 million or $1 million. That's the lie. Now, by the way, even if that lie were true, how many people get to start out with $1 million or $2 from their parents? How many people? How many people? That alone would put him in the top 1% of, kids being born with a silver spoon in their mouths, right? But that's not even true. Hundreds of millions of dollars from his dad. So Trump was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Don Jr. is also born with a silver spoon in his mouth. This motherfucker got a whole silver set of utensils in his mouth. He's got a silver fork. He's got a silver knife. He's got a silver spork. He's got a silver everything in his mouth. He's got a gold everything in his mouth. So for him to be like, for him to make this argument is fucking rich.
Those are the ones that are selfish for not necessarily wanting to pay the gender studies major, the doctoral student in underwater basket weaving, all of these useless degrees.
See, now this is their new line of attack. Somehow, the people who are up to their fucking eyeballs in student loan debt, they're the elitist snobs. They're the liberal arts degree having, super progressive, transgender, artsy types who provide zero benefit to society. That's the argument they're making. Here's the problem with it. Nothing could be further from the truth. 90% of the people who were benefited by this make $75,000 a year or less. This is the truckers. This is the people who work at Amazon. These are the people who are being helped. It's everyday working people. That's who's being helped. But they're just trying to be smug and arrogant and flippant and act like, no, you're shaking down the good, hardworking middle-class Americans to pay for, the pink-haired freak. It's really disingenuous. It's really gross.
Ones that right off the bat will never be able to pay them back, right? The ones where they're going to be in school for 10 years for a job or a degree that no one wants or needs.
For a job or a degree that no one wants or needs. Dude, please reel it in. I get that you're coked up. I get that you're fucking gacked out of your mind right now. I get it. I see it in your eyes. I hear it in how you're speaking. But for the love of God, understand how everybody else perceives you and how you're doing a shitty impression of your dad. Even the way, you're trying to even say the words like he says them. Jesus Christ, man, this is rough.
Shockingly, they're not the selfish ones. The ones that signed on the loan. Remember, it's not good enough, or the loan or the degree is not worth enough.
Not worth enough. Not good enough. Not worth enough.
For them to pay it back themselves. But it's worth enough for you to pay it back for them, right? There's no checks and balance on the universities who keep jacking up their tuition.
So let's nationalize them. Right? Oh my God, they're acting like businesses and they're price gouging and it's so out of whack. Agreed. Let's nationalize it. Let's treat it just like public high school. That's it. You want to control the price? That's how you control it. That's how you control it. It's not with more capitalism. It's not more price gouging. It's totally nationalizing it. Then you get to set all the rules and regulations and the cost, etc. He's not going to say that, is he?
Who come up with course loads like, the fashion of Harry Styles. You've seen all of these ridiculous ones. It's the people who paid it back. The people who lived within their means. The people who were responsible. Those are the selfish ones, guys. And that is the Democrat Party today, right?
Guys, that is the Democrat Party today. This is like literally the lowest IQ partisan drivel I've ever seen in my life. I mean, the guy is just like, he's somehow a dumber version of Rush Limbaugh from the 1990s. The Democrats want
AOC, one of the thought leaders, probably maybe the thought leader of the Democrat Party. That is
please.
Their logic. The people who are the most responsible should pay for those who are the least responsible, and the least responsible should be rewarded with benefits. Who cares? What's another half?
So wait, you are least responsible if you do what society has told you all along, which is go to college to make a better life. You are the least responsible. You're the least responsible. So do the thing that everybody told you to do in this neoliberal hellscape, and then they turn around and go, that's selfish and irresponsible. You told me it was the responsible thing to do and the selfless thing to do. You told me to do better for me and my family and my loved ones, and this is what I have to do. God, he's such an asshole. He flipped everything right on its head. Again, it's all nothing but pure obfuscation from the reality that 43 million Americans were helped by this. 43 million. A total scam system. Total scam system. And Biden saying, well, let's forgive some of the debt from that scam. And they're like, no, I'm actually pro-scam. This is the argument he's making. Because you're irresponsible for going to college. Treat college the same way we treat high school. Free at the point of service, paid for by taxes. Nobody ever rips the idea of our free public high schools in this country, right? Or free public middle schools or public elementary schools. Everybody just grandfathers that in like, yeah, this is a civilized society. This is how it functions. But nobody takes the same logic we apply there and just goes one step further. By the way, in today's day and age, a college degree is the same as what a high school degree used to be. So it's just really keeping pace with time if you do that.
$1 trillion. They're saying up to $500 billion, although they didn't even know last week. They announced the plan. They're not really sure what it'll cost, but hey, we can buy some Democrat votes from the people who will constantly need us and who know that if they vote Democrat, they'll always have a place to come back to.
We can buy some Democrat votes. Again, so he's going with the corruption framework. This is corruption. This is bribing. This is, buying votes. So doing the democratic will of the people is bad, in your opinion? Doing what the public wants is a bribe. But for any of these politicians to do what their corporate donors want, what a billionaire wants, that's not a bribe. No, you got it flipped. That is the bribe. Doing the will of corporations or doing the will of a billionaire who paid you, that is a bribe. Because you're choosing them over the will of the people. Doing the will of the people in what's supposed to be a democracy is democratic. Small d democratic. It's how it's supposed to work. God, this guy, he's so insufferable, man. How fucking high is he? He's high as balls right now. With his eyes and his rambling and his weird pronunciation of the words, trying to be my daddy.
Always have a trough to go to for someone else to take care of their mess. That's the Democrat Party today, guys, in 2022.
Okay, understand what's so funny about Don Jr. is that he hasn't even grasped, the ideological roots of what made his dad successful in the first place. The thing that made Trump successful in the first place, how he won that first election, it was not just the standard, red meat to the Republican base, throw out some bigotry, Mexicans, they're criminals, they're rapists, I assume some are good people, or total and complete shutdown of Muslims coming in the U.S. That was there for that demographic, no doubt. But there was another angle to it. The other angle to it was, effectively what we learned was fake populism. I'm not going to cut your Social Security. I'm not going to cut your Medicare. I'm not going to let your jobs get shipped overseas. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to raise wages. This is stuff that he did. Now, he said it. He didn't deliver on any of it, right? But he said it. He didn't, there was net outsourcing under his administration. His tax bill benefited the wealthy. 83% of it benefited the wealthy over the long run. Okay. But Don Jr. is just taking his dad's act, doing a worse voice and worse hand motions while trying to copy him, and also totally dropped any of the semblance of economic populism. I mean, this is just like, let's take something that helps 43 million Americans, working people, and let's rip it to shreds, to no end. And he's going full, Mitt Romney rhetoric of there's the haves and the have-nots. Or you have the producers and the parasites in society. This is what he's doing. And the argument is, basically anybody who goes to college is like a Democrat and, pink hair, and they're not a working person, they're a lazy person. And it's such low-level commentary, it's almost embarrassing, right? It's just so sad. Dude, get a life, man. Get a life, Don Jr., for the love of God. Imagine going through your life just trying to copy your dad, and your dad's Donald Trump, and you're just really bad at it. Like, DeSantis is a much better Trump impersonator than you are, Don Jr., and you're his son. How sad is that? It's so sad. Jesus Christ, man. Oh. Go away, dude. Go away. And by the way, again, super privileged, born with all the wealth in the world, all the opportunities in the world, never had to pay a cent for college in his life. And now he's turning around and lecturing people who got scammed with these big college loans for them to get a little bit of relief. He's saying, no, that's unfair. It's unbelievable. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.